shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shishano ya marwe. Twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano, shindano ya marwe. Twaleni abana mayo kuchipata, twaleni abana benu mayo kuchipata, makala swing shindano, shindano ya polio, makala swing shindano, shindano ya kampasa, makala swing shindano ya polio.
Hello, 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 hello. Good evening, Chuempala. Good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Chipata and Petaoke and Solwezi. Good evening, Kasempa and Mufumbwe. Good evening, Mongu and Sesheke and Senanga. Good evening, Chirundu, Livingston and Pemba and Zimba. Good evening, world, wherever you are receiving us from. I am going to give you a few minutes for you to spread the word around, because TVBAKWETU is on as usual. This is about 21:35 Chiwempala time, and it's 12:35 here in Calgary, Alberta, in Canada. And so I'm very happy to join with you here today. We anticipate to have the Permanent Secretary for the Ministry of Health. Our new Permanent Secretary is going to join us, and we have a very, very simple thing to talk about today. It is about COVID. We'll be talking about COVID and stuff like that, and vaccinations. And please do not miss, because I just want to be very, very clear and very categorical today here. I have several of my friends that are joining me. Jerome Kanika. Jerome, good evening. How are you doing?
Good evening, Council Musha. I'm very much fine. Yeah. Council, I think I want to say something. Yes, it's good. Yeah, we were expecting the Permanent Secretary for Health. I've just managed to communicate.
Yeah.
And he has just knocked off from work. Imagine knocking off this time. So he has just gotten the permission.
This is just 12:36. So why is he knocking off very early?
This is 21:37 Zambian time. Someone starting work at 7 hours. That's something else. And the civil servant, and your condition of service says you work from 8 to 17. But look, this one is working from 7 hours to 21 hours, just saving the Zambian people. That's a lot of work. So unfortunately, it's just actually knocking off. So he has just asked me to apologize on his behalf, but he's in full gear to join tomorrow, actually, using at the same time. Hopefully tomorrow is going to knock off. You know, there is a mess in the Ministry of Health, so he just have to work over and extra hours. Actually, for me today, when I was talking to him, actually I even asked him to say, "PS, soon you start sleeping from Undeki house, because the problems that are there."
It's too much. All right, thank you, Jerome. Thank you for giving us that notice. So our dear listeners, we do not have Dr. Kasonka tonight here, because as you would very well understand, the Ministry of Health, in addition to the issues that have been accumulating over the past 7 years, we have this big crisis in Zambia. And so he has to be there to ensure that he serves our people. Mwelwa, welcome to the program tonight.
Thank you, and good evening to Zambia. Good morning to you, or is it good afternoon to the others?
Yeah, hello, Wacha. You know what, Mwelwa, I have very serious things to talk about today, and I just want to rebut some of the misinformation. I hope we are together on this one. Are we?
Yes, we are.
All right, thank you. Now I can see our friend Himba. Himba, are you there?
I'm here, Bamusha.
Welcome to TVBAKWETU tonight.
Thank you so much, and good evening, Bamusha, and the team.
Yeah, so it's the four of us, and we are going to have a very, very frank discussion. And the reason is because there is so much false information around, so much, it's like people are spreading so much false information. And so we just want to rebut some of it to ensure that some of our people receive the information that they need in order to be helped, because this is a health crisis, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely it is.
Right. Okay. Now, I perhaps need to start from. I've never undressed before on national television, but let me try to see. How many of you have this? I don't think it can show very well. There it is. Now, I'm not saying show. I'm barely asking. It's okay. I can, but I know not many. No, please don't show. You can just say yes.
I have it.
Yes. Mine, unfortunately, I've got very bad skin, so mine has never shown, and no matter how many times It has never stuck or shown.
Oh, you mean nothing here and nothing here?
No, so I think I've had them twice and nothing has stuck. So I just have my under 5 to prove that I did have it done.
All right, and Jerome?
Vamunsha, you have 6-6.
So it appears like we all have 6-6. If this is 6-6, Nishkashi, we have it because I have it here. And I think my age group, I don't know who is my age group here. But you don't ask a lady how old they are. Anyway.
Oh,
but our age group, I think we have it on both. Is it true?
Yeah. Here Vamunsha. Inefia alikuwa kwati ninkolo kwa paso. Chikulu.
Is it just one or you also have it?
La Monica no kutadi. Otafela my glasses.
Yeah. You also have
I have 2. One here and Napakuwoko.
Okay.
This is what the book of Revelation says, Vamunsha. This is what the book of Revelation says.
We'll go to Revelation. Jerome, do you have it on both?
Now, for me, even if I get as many injections as possible, not sure. I'm like Mwerwa.
And Mwerwa, not even here. So you say that neither shows.
No.
Is it a generation?
Neither shows as dominant.
I
don't even know, because I think Ghanaian, I've had it twice. And it still doesn't really show.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So a little story behind it. Now, some people are saying, why should you be talking about vaccines? You're not even a medical doctor. No, I'm not a medical doctor. It's just that Vari Ndasa here and Vari Ndasa nap. Before the program started, we were playing a song from Emmanuel Mulemena. I think it was done in the 70s. Now, I don't know who was alive at that time, but in the 70s, there was a lot of pushback against vaccines. Many people in our country refused. They were spreading all these conspiracies around. So these are not new conspiracies. They were spreading all these conspiracies around that it was all going to kill children. It was all not going to work. So there was an amplified public education. And Emmanuel Mulemena did that song. Atwale neabana benukuisa kofipatala. Pakatibaye mukula swa inshindano. And here we are. Now, I do understand that this thing saved us from a lot of things. Mwelwa, what did this thing save us from?
I think some of the vaccinations that I know, we have the measles, we have the polio vaccinations. There are quite a few. I can't remember all of them, but there are quite a few that you have just after you're born. And I think they're stagnated. You have one at, I think, a couple of weeks after you're born. Then you have another at 6 months and another important one at 9 months. So you have quite a lot of vaccinations when you're just born, or the first 1 to 1.5 years after you're born.
Right. Wohimba, what were these things for?
As Moa has said, Vamunsha, I think I also remember Tiali, polio, measles, quadri. Was it? Did we also have about the measles, chicken pox, Sika?
Measles,
No.
Jerome Kanika, measles, fiaps, and
So quadri, there was also for chicken pox as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so measles, chicken pox, polio, tetanus, BCG, and ECG, and mumps, rubella. Wow, there's so many. And then there were several that were done in booster shots. So they'll give you shot number 1, then they give you another one 6 months later, then they give you another one 2 years later or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, do they still do it now? Jerome, do you know whether this thing is done now?
Yes, they still do.
Actually, these things are done now, and this time now, the number of vaccines have increased. Actually, that time, diarrhea and all that. But this time, we have also the vaccines for diarrhea, which babies are also given. Then very soon, we we are going to have actually the vaccines for malaria now. So there are all other vaccines that have been put in place that we are giving the children, and it has continued like that. Like Mira mentioned, to say there is that one which is given maybe 3 weeks after birth. That's a BCG to prevent a child from having TB, or if the child has TB, it will not go into a severe TB, but it will be a mild TB that will allow the health workers to make sure that they are able to treat that child, the TB. Yeah, so
Right.
it has been like that.
So I can see here that there is consensus here that all of us have had vaccines before. And now, Jerome, do you know whether these vaccines are mandatory? Is it every person who is born that must have these vaccines?
Not really. The vaccines are not mandatory, even
Okay.
up to today. But somehow, because of the work they do, they are made to be like a mandatory for every child. So every
Right.
child that is born is made sure that they receive the BCG. They received all the vaccine that comes in. I remember very well, 2 years ago, we had the problem with the BCG in Zambia
Right.
running out, and the parents were busy complaining and all that. Where I was even saying to say, by then I was the president for Pharmaceutical Society, and I was the one who urged government to make sure that they procure the BCG, and they did that because of
Right.
the importance of children being vaccinated with that vaccine that is going to protect them from having tuberculosis in case they come into contact with someone with tuberculosis.
All right. So it's very clear here that we not only have we personally, I think we've lost Jerome and Himba there. Oh yeah, okay. So not only is there evidence, because one say for panoturi, all of us we've testified to the fact that we got these vaccines, and even if they were not mandatory, but it's like it's an expectation. But on someone or isn't it, Mwelwa?
It seems like it's an expectation, or it's the order of events for every mother. As long as you're taking your child to a hospital, or you registered your child in a hospital, even if let's say you gave birth from home, that then you'd have to go register your child. So as you register your child, they get into the system within the clinics. And when they get
Right.
into the clinics, automatically are being asked, you need to come after 3 weeks, you need to do this. And so parents automatically take their children because you want your weight done, you want to check that your child's growing is okay. So somehow you're forced to somehow fall in line, even if you were not meant to fall in line personally, probably, yeah.
Yeah. And so it has saved us from TB. What else has it saved us from measles? It has saved us from, yes, Jerome?
Yeah, Vamoncha, you see, I'm trying by all means not to mention the word mandatory because people may think like the other way around. But the moment your child is born, you are told you need to do that. You can't escape that. You just have to. You see, it's not mandatory, but it's just. I don't want to mention mandatory, Vamoncha, because people will misquote that here. So yeah, so it protects us from. I know I am saying this. I know you'll come to that at the right time. It saves us from chicken pox. Yeah, it saves those vaccines. They also save us from having mumps. They also save us from having polio. We know how bad polio is. Yeah, then this time we have also given children vaccines for diarrhea for them to be protected against having the diarrhea and all that, because most of the children, we find that we are dying due to diarrheal diseases and all that. Then we knew the bacteria that was causing the same diarrhea. So the vaccine was developed to help the children. If that bacteria enters the child's stomach, the body will able to fight without causing the child to lose the nutrients or becoming malnourished and all that. So this is how good life is becoming in now. Yeah.
Life is becoming good, and life is becoming good because of all these. Now, we are not, even if you're a pharmacist, Jerome, I know that you are not a specialist who manufacture these things, right? And we are going to have people that have been involved in these vaccines on our program at a later stage. Doctors. Abasambirira bayishwa bwino bwino fya upanga ama-vaccines nefyo bayapangire ama-vaccines and everything else. But suffice here to say that
unkupanga imiti profession yandi. So
oh, okay.
Yes. Yaba panga imiti bali mumona. Ifwe.
Oh, okay. So
anyway, but
no, I know you are a pharmacist. If Jerome is a pharmacist.
Yeah, that's what we've known. But I know that some pharmacists do know how the structures of things are made, and they can actually make the medications. Whether they're doing it on a big scale, depending on how your qualifications are. So I do know, I think there's some merge somewhere between the virologists and the pharmacists and the researchers.
Yeah, I think it's a whole wide, and in fact, Jerome, you've helped Zambia to understand and appreciate other professions within the health system. Because I'm physicians, I'm doctors. Bali ama doctors balala senyereti tabala sai bali aba follow to court
no balala sana bene nyereti. It's part of their training and all that. So anyway, in making the drugs, every health profession actually has a key to play. Right. Doctors have a very big key to play. Pharmacists have very big key to play. And the biomedical scientists, they have a very big key to play in developing these drugs. Everyone, they have a key to play. It depends only if you have interest in what you're doing. I was reading yesterday, Bamunsha, sorry to diverge a little bit away. There is a gentleman, a grade 12 in China, whose child is lacking copper in the body. Now, this man has just taken up the books by himself, and he has made the copper for his child to be given, and the child and the man is giving his child the copper. The child is just 5 years old. I was reading this yesterday at the ENC broadcast for South Africa. So, if you just have the interest, you can make the drugs and all that.
Copper,
but we need to start that.
Tulakwata copper mu mubiri imo mwalale nga bantu baye mu kuyipayana. Ati nichi bayipayira twarefu ya copper.
Yes, this child has a layer kind of condition that requires that indicates in the body that the child has less copper. So copper is needed at the dosage that is needed for the body to have it. And the fathers just made that. Well, pharmaceutical companies refuse to make the drug for the child because the condition the child has is very, very rare, and very few people have that condition. So that's prompted the father now to make the medicine for himself, and he has been appreciated by the people in China, including the Minister of Health in China and other government officials, for him to stand up brave and bold and make the medicine for his own child.
All right.
Well, in
now,
Africa,
you know that our bodies contain copper. Now, when our bodies contain umulopa,
our bodies, yeah.
Umutima, mumala, fimbi inshalande, mwala ntunganya, mwala nsula, inshalande.
No, that's what we're saying. The body has vitamins and minerals to help it be healthy and everything. So under the minerals, those terms will fall in back, but it's not like the minerals you're thinking of in those terms that copper and mine. Not exactly. But these are some of the things we need. We have phosphorus, we have sulfates. All those are supposed to be at a balance within your bodies. That's why sometimes if you fall, maybe you fall ill, drip minerals to balance off your body and give it back the minerals or the supplements that it's missing.
Yeah, I appreciate your mamusha. Vajera pauti vakwimya. Kapano.
Black Mountain kutunga copper.
Okay, so Mwelwa, we now have a crisis in our country. It's a health crisis.
Yes.
There were, I think the Minister of Health did foresee a fourth wave. It was going to come. They had foreseen the fourth wave, but there is something else that has come, and it's Omicron. What's the name of this new virus? Omicron?
Yes,
Omicron.
Omicron, me, not me, but me. Omicron.
Okay, yeah. So there is this new variant that has come, and it has complicated things further. It's a new variant. Jerome so I will not even go into the composition of what this is. It's a virus. We've advanced from Delta. Now we're on Omicron, and it's a very, very serious mutation of COVID-19. And so there are reports that we could have 1 or 2 cases in Zambia. I don't know, but there could be. But so far, no numbers have been officially given. But we are facing the fourth wave. Is that the case, Mwelo?
I think there's a lot of misinformation, like you stated at the beginning, within the public. And I don't think there's necessarily a crisis as at now. I think we're trying to manage the possibility of a crisis. So at the moment, we just had a South African doctor or scientist find out that there's this variant that they had never seen, and they've spoken up. And unfortunately, instead of being thanked or probably say, all right, let's get onto our toes, the West have said, all right, then that's happening, then we close off the Southern African countries. So I think the government within Zambia is trying to deal with the possibility of a crisis coming in.
All right.
And trying to put as many measures in.
But the fourth wave was expected, right?
It was expected.
Mentioning that they were preparing for a fourth wave.
Yes. There were predictions, I think, based on the fact that the temperatures are going to dip about this season. And because the temperatures are about to dip, which is the common environment or the weather that COVID sort of takes predominance, then they were expecting it about this time. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Jerome, that is the case, isn't it?
Yes, actually, that's the case. Then in Zambia, according to today's update from the ministry, we don't have yet any case from the new variant, but we have 3 cases of the people who traveled to South Africa. Now they are back. Yeah. They are in Zambia. 2 are fully vaccinated. 1 is not vaccinated. So these are the people who have already, the rapid test was positive. The PCR test was positive. Now the ministry is doing genomic sequencing. Genomic sequencing is the sequencing that we do to know what type of the virus you have. So that's what they are doing on the samples that they collected from those people to know. So maybe tomorrow or the other day, since genomic sequencing takes a few hours, 48 hours or so, we'll be told exactly if we have our first cases or not. But as currently, we don't have any case from the new variant in Zambia.
All right. Okay. So it's just the caution and things like that. Anyway, it appears though that the government has been putting in place some measures. Himba, are you familiar with some of the measures that the government tried to put in place in Zambia? Oh, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm aware about a few.
Yeah.
Where they are saying we have to do the vaccine, and they've also provided the vaccination centers in the markets, the bus stops. It's actually very accessible for everyone, and the Minister of Health has also opened her doors to say, if you don't understand and you've got any questions, you've got any suggestions on the way we can handle this situation, please come and approach us. I think for me those are measures, although people they've not received it very well.
Abantu ba mulomo nifinshi ife tabapokerere bwino.
They are trying to say the vaccine should not be mandatory.
Okay.
And they are saying everyone has the right to determine or accept what goes into their body or what comes out of their body. Like this vaccine, not everyone should have it. But I think, personally, I think we need to do more of education, sensitization to our Zambian people. Like the way they are saying that it shouldn't be mandatory. Yes, it should not be mandatory. It's not mandatory. But the fact is that I have the right to accept to go for the vaccine. But as much as I have the right, I should also bear in my mind that I also have the responsibility not to infect another person. So if I have the right not to be vaccinated, there's another person whom you're not supposed to infect. And if you infect this person, it becomes a criminal case. So there's this infringement of each one person's rights. So I think we need to do a lot of sensitization, Vamunsha.
So what I'm hearing from you, Himba, is quite all right. It's not mandatory.
Yeah.
However, you were vaccinated. That spread to others. Because
exactly.
It's okay. No, I don't want to be vaccinated. But
exactly,
as long as you continue to mingle with others, you are likely to pass it on innocent people and infect them.
Yeah.
No, but there is no government ikupere ensambu iyakutwala uya kumukutanda amalwere ku bantu abali innocent. No.
Yeah.
I don't think. Yeah.
Now they are coming out like it's mandatory because the government has said you're not going to access the public places if you're not vaccinated. You're not going to access the public offices if you're not vaccinated. You're not going to access, such as markets, bus stops, and the like. But I think there's a component. Bakalipa.
No, but I think the way the numbers were going in Zambia, if we did not take some very drastic measures, the fourth wave was going to be extremely bad for us. Now, in the third wave, people died. You know the third wave, year time yakwa kaunda fuire pashan. June.
Yes, about June, July.
About June, July.
June, July. Yes.
May, June, July. We were facing a third wave, and many of our people died.
Absolutely.
UTH mortuary was full.
Leopard's Hill, and there's Mutumbi these days as well.
Memorial. Full. Abakankala ukufwa. COVID. Levi Mwanawasa, COVID isolation center, it was full. Number, that was the third wave. So number, as a government, mufiri mwachitapo chimo. to prevent another more deaths coming. No, but why have we forgotten so very early? It never happened. Because even Kenneth Kaunda himself, it could have been connected to a COVID complication. Several famous people, several people had died during that week. And we are joking about it, but that was the case. It was due to COVID. And then the other thing is, sometimes it's okay, Shanshan, but COVID in edimbinoko pusuka kutuwapusuka nombo wafya mu Zambia na oxygen tatuwakwata efya ipeya abantu abekisana pa UTH babululu wantine baba beperekesha afi babendisha efintu mumona imwe mule mwana ite oxygen ireya mu lungs kanshi tamudi, and they passed on. Elo yambi amalaitu kuya oxygen ire pumping afirafina amalaiti yaya abantu bafwa. So it's a combination of the disease and the lack of healthcare infrastructure that might lead to a very, very serious disaster. That is what happened during the third wave. You are going to get vaccinated.
And one thing I also found, I think, about us is that because sometimes we don't feel like we are suffering, especially as Zambia, but we are beggars. That's the unfortunate reality at the moment. And maybe if more of us begin to accept that we are poor people who are constantly begging, and because we are constantly begging, at the moment we're at the mercy of anybody else who's even donating vaccines. Now we don't have oxygen, we have poor infrastructure, and then the government has no option. They're in a hard place. It's either they force you to get the vaccine, or some crucial oxygen. Toilet and other people are saying they would go and line up just to buy the oxygen. So I'm even wondering why some people now very quickly. Though at the same time, I think this kind of panic has equally forced some people to also open up their minds. I have some friends who are saying they only went to get their vaccines today because now they've seen the seriousness of it. They didn't realize they were seeing us sick, and they heard that so many people were sick. It didn't sink in until now. So maybe this was also equally a good thing that this panic has come, and then people are opening up their minds.
Mwandini, bamasebo mulifye bwino mayo mwali bomba mayiro fira mwalandire. That's why today 12,000 vaccinations alabena Zambia limo kuba tini yako kubetira kwempepo. Ati if you don't get this vaccine you will not be coming to our offices. Mwali bomba fya mwali chitagwino. There was a huge debate about mandatory, but they acted, and that is what we needed to safeguard the lives of our people. Number two, take on sugar kwebati tamusakamana abantu. Abantu bonse nga bafwa COVID yachita wipe out abantu. Chikabashani ero tukala take enshimbwa. No, bantu. That's why kuko sapo fimo. Ativane, you are going to go and get these vaccines because they save lives. They are going to help us. Tulimunkondo. This is not business as usual. So mwabombenma ninjishibana bachita reverse ro kwebata how if you mandatory if you relax, it's okay, but at least the message has gone.
Vamusha the Kenya Punja Sheko maybe first thing if you mnandire pama oxygen na vimbi. This is one thing in 25 minister besu vena tabarefisa varelandira prophet to say Allah nga situation yaba wesi tatukwete pona kufimba ndakwirisha abantu ifwe. We don't have anything to say. She's just saying like that. If the situation gets out of hand, we will not manage. We'll just die because the government doesn't have the capacity to handle. And she's just saying blank, not saying no, the government has the oxygen. No. She's not politicking about it. She's just saying the truth. Then, in terms of saying about mandatory, even pasande ba minister kwena tabarande po mandatory. Even na Roman Parliament ba minister tabarande po mandatory, but ba minister balande tyati. Ngale ponkuingira muchukuru wa chesu ba government. Kwena trying to fake a proof that you are vaccinate tabade tanti abantu. just
Right.
go there, but just show a proof that you are vaccinated.
Right.
Then valera ndafuta nga oli mubomfi wesu twamiperako time muchitenani kane mube vaccinated nga talifongo vaccinated then nishkwena nokwikuta nawe you total fire everybody tabakenye put iyo mandatory out, and if you mandatory uranda kupali mandatory kwena ninebwe nendalanda pali mandatory nenda ifwaisha.
Yeah.
But government has not done that. All the civil servants are required to be vaccinated unless there is a compelling medical reason that you cannot get vaccinated. The reason is simple. Civil servants, they serve a lot of people day in, day out, and they meet a lot of people, so they need to get vaccinated. Then again, government, as a way of doing things, it has a way of protecting the unvaccinated, and it has a way of protecting the vaccinated. So the government is saying, we don't want the unvaccinated to put at risk the vaccinated. So the unvaccinated, na vaccinated, the government yaso na problem bonsi babana na protected. Bamunsha na family yenu ya not vaccinated, the munganda mumia.
No. Munganda mwandi inena aliba vaccinated. Abena mwandi bali vaccinated. Umwana wandi 17-year-old aliba vaccinated. Umwana wandi 16-year-old aliba vaccinated. Na kakadoli ka princess na kokene bala tambo kucha vaccinate utwaiche. Na kokene tukakatwala wakakachite vaccinate.
So I think then at yoba kanika na family yenu mwali vaccinated na imwe awe akuchitemingo naba nenu baba vaccinated. Obo government ichitrepo kuchishe kwena. Palipo mandatory at yoba government bali forcing abantu. No, government are forcing abantu. Bamunshanga tamefwa yemwe. Kuikala, but naba mnyebati you will not be able to go if you want to go to the hospital, to the police, to the what? Make sure you have a vaccination certificate. And today, I went to the Ministry of Local Government. The ministry, our ministry, the pala ba discipline, bamusha, bankombo, our pala ba discipline. I had to produce my certificate to enter by the gate. Where is your certificate? Here's my certificate. Come in. Without that certificate, they were chasing to say, no, go make sure you get vaccinated. Then you can come and enter. The gate is open for you. That's what they were saying. They were not chasing. They were just saying, go get vaccinated. The gate is open for you. If you are not vaccinated, if you are vaccinated, there are please no come in, go where you want to go. That's how the thing is. Yeah.
I think that is the role of the government. Kainga could protect the health of our people. Mbobu teko bukwate obunangani. Bola bekofie ati yo mkwai you can just do whatever you want. Elo chikabesha na bantu ngabatampo okufwa. And you keep blaming the same government that they didn't. No. So limokuko sapo. Icha kukonko lubiro no be kuchikonko lubiro. Epela. So number if we as TVBAKWETU tule mieva imemwebe na Zambia konso komuli mailo idi wakasuba takala ima mukaye mukutantama na tumfuati ama vaccination centers yesu ile chalo chonse na kuchuwe mpala market at na popene epoidi. So why not kabieni mutantame bamilase. Very, very important. Very, very important. Pandu tulimu nkondo. So number, therefore, as many people as possible, balaso pakoba touch the defeat COVID once and for all. To work eremo kuri ya life yo twaishibe. If you yakoba mule sumino abantu babu fi. Ati COVID medicine ileipa ya kuisa. Abasungu, kuno abasungu, abengi fie, they are all vaccinated. Abengi vaccinated. They're still alive. Na ifwe vaccinated. Pusheni mfwa, okay. Tetuishi bemwe, vahimba. Pusheni ndemoneka ngoafwa.
Alo ba munja mle moneka fe fit.
ndi mutuntu
Nga ini ndemo niko wakwa.
epo mudi mule moneka fie very ala bonse apa bamwerwa you look alive nshaipushanga namulaswa but you look alive.
No, I have been
Nilikuwa tena
vaccinated.
booster wa Musa. I'm double vaccinated with a booster.
With a double and the third one, or one with a booster?
2 double, year first, year second, na booster. 3.
Oh, okay. How you are very well protected. But Jerome Batch Trefe, Johnson and Johnson.
When I need to feel now, minute imokwe na pu. Awe na wana vaccinated ba mushe. And vamusha as the Europa to land. Gave you much land we at 12,000 yeah mile. By today 14 hours. Nish kuri Vingston, Johnson, yonse vaccine na ipua. Again, kwachibongwa to me na imbi vaccine to say ani na imbi vaccine. So you see, I was very much because I was paying very much attention when people are saying you could have 3 million doses, meaning that once ngabangwa vaccinated ninshi that we manage because we have more than 8 million doses. So I went to that an opportunity, good opportunity to talk with the minister, the presidential advisor on COVID, and the PS over that. And I asked the same question. They told me to say, Jerome, the vaccines, they expire in 6 months, you know that. So to manifest that awe, they can push 3 million imbi, ngatuamana tu awako afu, mukale tena imbi.
Right.
You see, because in quarter 15 million of our doses, well, 6 months later expire. We may end up expiring some. That if you are PF bari from Tonton Kanyakove na ba munshe. If you are so prudent,
this program is not political. Jerome told us sana. Even if the PF bari by 1 million votes. No, she reformed to the mama politics. Because 1 million is not a small number. 1 million is by 1 million votes. Number 3, we come on politics.
So government, in short, now quarter, I'm a vaccine more than 3 million.
Okay.
I feel about what problem. Ama cards. The minister bachilanda nimpokera report that kumbikuma areas ama cards ya turefunya ya green ya vaccination. They are thicker, but I'm working into that. I'm looking into that, and I'll make sure that by the end of the week or some areas by tomorrow they'll have. But those areas that are far-ish area, maybe by the other day they are going to have. She explained. She was so blunt and so honest about that, and this is what we were lacking. Actually, she referred to because now munkanya. Now munkanya ni landa kokuri. But
at least we lose 5 votes, 2 votes. Now, if 1 vote, no, we lose 1 million votes.
Yeah. So she was very blunt. She was very blunt about that, and she just said, "We know," and I'm hearing what people are talking about, and I'm hearing all the concerns that are coming out.
Right.
So now, you fail to understand why people are talking all this. They are talking this, just like you see. Anyway, I have a lot to say, but I'm also somewhat disappointed with some statements which they are saying it's coming from the unions, from the doctors. I'm failing to understand some of them. Anyway, Natranda Nabonse, Nama Union and the minister were very close, were very blunt about that to say we are engaging everyone, including the unions, and they have also agreed to say let's but the issue which is there is Sharandesa and Okinashakula. But the issues of vaccination, is something that today the minister explained so well, and in a very simple term language, which has resulted for us for the first time to have the largest number of people vaccinated. For the first time, Zambia has never vaccinated 12,000 that ago. This is the first time we have done that in the entire history.
Mwagomba. So my location to for 12,000 toka ichite double. Their next day double. Mpaka these 3 million doses yakapwe. Huh? Mpaka the 3 million doses yakapwe. Because there is too much misinformation. If we are TVBAKWETU, we can't let misinformation. Abantu baremiwe patio these vaccines are dangerous. Shani yonko. Ero na ifo tuwaika no. Imamwebe na Zambia, go and receive your jabs. Epera. Ni vaccine vie. It will protect you from this disease, and we are going to beat this disease. Don't even think twice or thrice about it. Go and receive your jabs. Mayo saying Chwempala had her jab very early, so bad it's like two doses. Mayo saying. Na libe pushenje vede why nish mwai di bebe akainge muti. She's over 60. She did it. And she's still there today. Of course, the usual sometimes health issues for people that age. But she's doing just fine. So if we are TVBAKWETU, we are encouraging you, Mwevena Zambia, Kabieni, muchte receive your doses, receive your vaccine, ignore the people that are fear-mongering, they are liars. Okay? And personally, I think we've had a long history with you, Mwebantu Besu. Personally, I have no respect for anyone, whether they are professionals or not. I want to play with people's health. That's it. Some of you were telling me, the reason why I am encouraging people to get vaccines is because we have our government in place. I'm very humbled that we have the UPND government in power. Extremely humbled, and we played a role in electing them. We campaigned for them. I have no apologies about that. But the positions we have taken regarding COVID precedes this government. At the time when we were having elections and campaigning with the Lungu government in place, we used this platform to fundraise. Dr. David Kajila from Global Association of Zambian Health Professionals, GAZEP. We formed together right here. Was that June or July? And we raised the funds to buy ventilators to help our people in Zambia. Before this government, we are not doing this because we want to bootlick the UPND government. I don't need to bootlick the UPND government. I don't need to. We are doing this because we want to save the people of Zambia. That's all. It has nothing to do with what? Ilo toilet to raise him here for COVID. Was the UPND in power? No. That's why we are consistent. If you go into our history and everything as TVBAKWETU, we are consistent in encouraging our people to get vaccinated, to take very good health decisions, to mask up, to sanitize, and save our people. That's all. Naleka, Mwelwa.
Yeah, I think I'm always laughing sometimes at our views, especially in Africa. We're a little behind, I think, on a lot of news. I think if we can remember carefully, at the end of 2019, beginning of 2020, America had a measles epidemic. And it wasn't so obvious because the COVID covered them up. But so many Americans are not vaccinated against measles, and many died. There were some young people who were actually even advocating, they're called anti-vaxxers. That's where the anti-vaxxers thing was already trending in America, even before the COVID was already trending, because there was this idea whether these youths were claiming, I'm alive, Nshakwata measles, and then guess what? They got infected and they died. Several of them, public ones who were young, died. And sometimes we don't look at some of these trends even to look into the news and be maybe a lot more exposed. rather than just our Facebook. I always say, for phone, pa Facebook, pa Google. I want to Google, checking on news, you know. Smartphone, you know, tell you the news of the world. We're pressing every morning. Sometimes we're on news, you hear all these things. And you're able to compare. If I in Zambia got a measles shot and I've never had measles, yet America measles and got the measles, what does that tell you? Where will the vaccines kill you? You know, we might have side effects, and it happens. There's a rare one here or there. For example, I'll give an example of myself. I'll get the shot and I'll be really swollen for a couple of days. It's not common to everyone. You know, some people don't have, you know, and that's just it. Some people will have the side effects. Some of them will have extreme side effects. Some of them will not. But would you rather walwala COVID before proving at zona COVID or would you rather you get vaccinated? You know, so that's, I think for me, I keep insisting, get vaccinated. No one wants to kill in a 666 certificate. If you're a Christian, 666, you know, it's very obvious. The Bible says it's going to be where? On your forehead. So you know, exactly.
Yeah.
So let's just get vaccinated. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but some people are saying that we Africans that Africa has changed. Imagine a virus from China, it comes into Africa. Elo nomba even ama forests ukwali ama herbs imiti shimwesho avena kunda mpanda na mwansankumba na bambina bambia ancestors besu bale bonfya chose shije imiti fya disappear mwalikula mwa mayanda mulusaka. So where are you going to get those herbs? Mule yumfu ilapot we African we use herbs. Which herbs? Okowa mama wina apa alichi muti kufutikira pakuwa tukole iwe na mwishiwe chilipo palinganda ya bana wina naba nabo bana wina naba nabo bali ya kule mpanga forest 27 kulusaka a very important place kwa kovati ekufuma otumana ekwamenshi ya mfula yaya mukufisama pakuwa twapange nshi twapange fimana bena bali baya seba ko first of all ne mitishonse shisho mfuaya shaishibe miti mfuaya but mitishonse sho mutontonkanya hapo ngamle tontonkanya whether it's shishishibe mtototo o nyanganya naleka.
You see, Kasonka, yesterday evening, I featured on the Millennium TV. I think that's made me actually to dread to come on this program. And one thing that came out, I'm telling you, Kasonka, I think I need to continue fun with you. I was tended to be a pastor. Just imagine.
You were trying to be a pastor?
Just imagine yesterday. You see, there are these people, they call us, not Tashan, to my phone to say, no, if you have to book the liberation to say, last days, times they are 666, Bakura Pera Fiance, Tamakuna market, Kumashan, Kumadan. Then in Gaine, ne pastors and Drepa anointed, Kuri Pastor Musha. Then that again, the same Bible says, he who's in us is bigger than the one who's where in the world. So definitely 666 is in the world, but God is in us. So meaning that why should we fight? What should we fear? God is in us. So there are all those kind of things that were people trying to say, no, in the last days, disease what Daniel. In the last days there will be enough or immense of knowledge that will come out where people they will discover and do everything using the knowledge. So I was trying to say they want to lie using the Bible. They think like we cannot also know something that is from the Bible. So I was asking them to say, what do you mean myself who's vaccinated? I have 666, then it means that I'll not go to heaven. Then that's a big problem. We don't know what
Wakuberenga Bible berera. mwema pastors mulechita spread if ububufi ubumuleke.
Aho tema pastors. Nyaba bene ti abene.
Tema kwali bama pastors abalanda tiyo mwira state. During the AIDS crisis. During the height of the AIDS crisis, but Himba, before I go to the AIDS crisis, say something. Oh, you were saying something. What were you saying?
Vamusha. Kulioko ba katwishinsha kulande kulioko wa meeting na mkwishwa mwevene. But my contribution this evening is that for me it's an appeal to our leaders. I think the other thing that is bringing a lot of conflict and mixed feelings, it's lack of information. Abantu abengi on the ground, they don't understand things. They have no understanding about this vaccine. That's why tama 6 chakuti chimtengo forest. I think my appeal to our leaders is that can we have more platforms to sensitize our people in different languages as well. Drama, you remember when HIV came, let us also use the same methodology that was used at that particular time. The information should be broken down to every ordinary Zambian. Receive vaccine, they understand what they are receiving. Pastor now church. Pantoma churches, they've got more influence on our citizen as well. So if they use the platforms in the churches to sensitize the Zambian people about the vaccine, I'm sure to carry more impact and our people are going to feel safe. And if you remember very well, tupulia nokuba sure abantu, nokuba vaccine tukwete nomba, it's genuine. Bali bagongelepo abantu babaletera ama vaccine ayachita expire. Bali tuteterepo ama panadol ayabaye. So people are asking, ngana libonfyapo condom yachita expire, chingalesha timbonfye vaccine ile expired ninji. So let us do a lot of sensitization. HIV. Remember, people were saying, we are ARVs. Hey, back to sender. Hey, chan. And people died. So let's use the same platforms here and let the social media be flooded with sensitization. Let us break this information into our local languages and in very simple language for every Zambian to understand. Nama drama ingoma mchitonga mchikalu vale mchinsenga na show to reach to everyone. So that every Zambian will understand, even when we tell them to go and queue, when we plead with them to go and have a vaccine, they will understand where we are coming from, Mamusha.
That's excellent. I think let us do that.
Before tamnaingiramo, and when I understand, but before tamnaingiramo, I think what Imba has said had an opportunity to talk with the PS. And if today featured on this program, those are some of the programs that have already been lined up.
Okay.
It's just that the permanent secretaries are having what is this? The meeting, not your meeting, whatever meetings, workshop, which is happening. But the permanent secretary for technical services is so keen to make sure that the musicians, other people, road shows, and other forms of where the vaccines are happening are done. And some of these programs that you have just mentioned, they have been put in place by the government. He was even telling me to say, look, it's just that you have a workshop, and this workshop is very important. I need to attend. But I didn't want to go in the field and observe and see what is happening in terms of the vaccination which is happening and how people are queuing up. Because most of the time people are queuing up, you find that I'm attending the workshop. By the time people are reducing in numbers, you find that that's when I'm having some free time and just knocking off. For the past few days, I've been knocking off above 21 hours. So all those things, nice things, have been put in place. But yes.
Yeah. And Shingola TV Choir, which is our choir, They are ready. They are ready to get started with all those dramas to sensitize our people in Chiwempala and beyond Zambia. So if you are looking for any of these groups, Bahimba Chingola TV Choir is already ready. They are ready to go with drama. Some people misunderstand them, but ni choir. No. They are comedians. They are comedians. So they are going to do several numbers. And I think the presidential advisor, because Ironaire State House for Independence, Nadia Tepereshakoba, COVID advisor to the president, they are ready, to begin the sensitization process. So we hope that the ministry will reach out to them. So we can connect you with Chingola TV Choir so that they can start. Now, there are several other groups also that can start. Lusaka. That's one of the confusion, because Ngamolechta engage ama drama groups. You just go to Lusaka and get a Katwishi. No. So number go out in the country. If you feel more CDF to everywhere, even sensitization, find utuma drama groups muma towns na
within that area. They should be within. Ngawaku Chikankata, get people from Chikankata to do the sensitization, because if it is coming from their own people, they will listen. Ngama speakers, headmen, let those headmen go and do the sensitization to their people. Not ukula senda ba Joromi kumakusakati tio kwe ukulande ku Shangombo. We ba Joromi kare mulusaka. Shangombo handle his issues in their own local language, the best way they can understand the situation.
So Bahimba ineta mwenje kwesha COVID tamlefa mlefa wale mnapama kwetu fie inde kabese pama kwetu fia pape ne fe sure. Tuambo bachingola kwaya na rais okubi join na mkwata men. Okay, vamusha. Munje beshu iliandinga tadidi fia bwino kwena. Valela ndati ale bwekela po tale bushashi iliandita ili bwino.
Didi bwino. Iyo kutumwaya na kushangombo kutiba umfo. In fact, abena shangombo balefo okumfo ileshu. I want to talk about HIV/AIDS.
Yes.
Because you see, one of the things was at the height. Okay, so we were born during the time of Ifyama, measles, polio, and everything else, right? But when we became adults, not adults, 90s, we should have been 10 years, teenagers, 90s. 80s, 90s, there was a major HIV crisis in our country. Big crisis. But you are 25 years old, you don't really get it. But in the 90s, HIV/AIDS decimated our population. Big time, like huge. And so I became a young pastor. You know, Zambia, you are 20, 21 years old. Pastor, you are papa. Now they look up to you. You become a pastor. Hello, our church was in between a traditional and a Pentecostal church. And you were that age, and you were burying every week. We were burying people that were dying, and we all knew it was HIV/AIDS related. It was a huge open secret. That plays on your mind. It begins to make you challenge your own theology. If we are not open about saving people, how are you going to help our people? If it means condomizing, to use condoms, because tomorrow they are going to be alive and they can change at a later stage. So if you can't talk about condoms. No, we had a crisis. And the good thing is the church came on board, several people came on board, we openly lobbied, ARVs came on board, and our people are now healthy. Can't you know really HIV? That wish me. Tulemuneka fyaba bulunga na bwino
Mike lepera feedback. There's a mic lepera feedback.
Ah, yeah. So no wish that wish, but ARVs are saving our people. So number all churches, Pentecostal churches, all churches, mama churches, shane. We need to continue encouraging our people. Ngachaptiro muntu alenu mtu wa TB, encourage them. Ngachaptiro muntu alenu ama ARVs, encourage them. Lesa ala bombe la muma ARVs, na mumitisha TB, na mumitisha mutwe, na muli panado. So number this idea here if you believe in God, therefore taufiro kunuomuti is nonsense. It's heresy. In fact, ababe mbabali anda tukuimba kati kusansha na lesa. Okuimba kati kusansha na lesa. Kanshi chirole nuo muti wa ARV. Nganuwa bopente na matangs urepe pa matangs. Uleko afuirisha poko at least waikalako it extends a little bit of your life. Namba babe nabasungu ninji babasungu tababa kwino kwena ba mulomo. Nomba bali tupera kwa yama ARVs. Garabutira bali bakutuipa tari ngaba shefe with order my ARVs. Abantu balafu wangefe bale for 90s. We've already done this before. We have faced very difficult times as a country. Do not let this COVID crisis become a pandemic that divides our people and kills our people. We need to stand together, we need to stand united, and we need to wipe out misinformation. Hello, the problem with COVID is nabopsanako sana obubulwere na AIDS. Mwamona AIDS bulwere bwakobati kano watente muna kaputula elo ungalwala ninjishiba kwali babambya bafyala nabo omulando bakobati bapoka kubafyashi, but at least bali bako kutente muna somewhere ukutente muna kaputula nomba i COVID ifyapusana i COVID yako bafyati nangule ipitira fye mumwera wapema mwalwala. It's a very, very big crisis. We defeated AIDS to reach the defeat, even if people are still getting infected, but at least imiteko shidi abantu they are healthy. Let us do the same thing over this COVID. Over this COVID. We are not going to take it at you if you have AIDS, if you have COVID. It's much more serious. Iyene inangu tautente mwine wala ambula. Wulwele watching kumba wile. Efe balanda mchibemba. Ichin kumba wile. Meaning, ule ipitira fiwe mwine weko. Ule ipi answered na innocent. Waikatua. Walwala. That is why we need very radical decisions, very radical health decisions, including the vaccines. Mushewa mwerwa, na lufiane mfyo nalanda?
No, you're very right. I think you're very, very right, because it's the perceptions that we have before someone gives you something and it's an option that you're being given. But I think sometimes at a lifeline very to pay. Even with the HIV, I think you can remember, we preferred the traditional medicines. At the age when I was just, I can't remember exactly how old I was, but I had many of my cousins who were taking, cousins and aunties who were taking the African potato, the shanshan, even when the hospital was offering the ARVs. I had a relative of mine who was traveling to places like Tanzania, and he would come back with all sorts of things that, the Tanzanians were saying were helping with the CD4 count and stuff like that. And unfortunately, as Africans, are unique in nature rather than the normal medication. But God works through human beings. The doctor is educated because God is going to save you. He might not do a miracle, because miracles are meant for the non-believers. And for saying we're a Christian nation, why do we need miracles? We don't need anyone to convince. So there's no, that's ideally, the miracles are for non-believers. So if I'm expecting a miracle, a Christian, who am I trying to convince that there's God? I would rather believe in the doctor that God has educated, and he's put knowledge in that doctor, and he's capable of giving me and prescribing some medication this is something that you can get healed from.
Imagine, ukula itama doctors ma 666. Nishi. abaire School of Natural Sciences, not for not abaire mukusambirira fye Kisungu, how to write good English and how to greet. How are you? I am fine. Na history. Shaka was born in 1787. He was the son of a Zulu king known as Senzangakona. And then he invented cow horn formation in fighting his enemies. All that is important. Number, we shouldn't call them doctors, nangama pharmacists, nangama biochemists, okubati 666. Tufuire in fact tukulaba peperera nokulaba pala pantu lesali bapamano ayakunda pamalwere nomba lesaba pera mano ayakutupangira mayaravis bapanga yaravi ero moya muku batukati mwe basatana nishikwena tuli natukwata mano baleta ma vaccines ya covid ayama covid aya a vaccines teba sungu beka bapangire na abantu abafita ngaine fine abena chiwempala asambirira fine ambo kubomba ku America oko baingira mulabo ififine bakanika apa mwene kuti bapanga omuti nomba abapanga emiti abantu beso ebo mwambo okutuka ati ma 66 nishi chabashana iyo bane omuntu ngasambirira te 66 Dr. Ngaya mukusambirira fyakunda pa abantu twira abatuka yo ati ma 66 batuletera ama vaccines ayo ko batuleya bomfya no icho naka lembe bajero mbasumina mwasumina
awe bamunsha kwena icho na ine ndechikana ngevyo fere na imwe mure chikana. We have a very big problem here. Just like someone today was telling me to say, have the Zambian scientists approved this medicine of these vaccines? Then I told them to say, look, I don't know what you want. I don't know what type of a Zambian do you want. I'm telling you, get the vaccine. The vaccines are safe and they are well approved. Then they say, no. They say, but look, me, I'm more of a Zambian because besides just being a Zambian, I was educated by the Zambian poor citizens through government sponsorship. So I'm more of Zambians trained again by not a private university, by the University of Zambia. Nero na mwebatawo muturi fya bwino ati yo insha ndangenya ma results yo ya test machita nani na be kwa simple question mwadia mnakuwa ma results ya panado awe tetule njebetu
bana to tamwaimona malaria tamwaimona
tabamona vaccine ndangama results no mba nangu inkulangia ma results wala interpret wala fishiba
there's a politician who is spreading this word. Unfortunately, inenshipita mumbadi amamwana inensha kwatakadia okay ko epokaba. I'm a diplomat inside my heart, but ngalakutulo muntu amba kokula myanga shale kwat ma setting imwe at no, you must subject these vaccines to Zambian scientists. Jerome, you mean Zambian scientists are going to come up with a different result over COVID vaccines?
I also don't. You see, that's the problem which is there. Maybe because they are used to see Jerome Papa-Kwetu. If he tells them, they think no. But then, who's a scientist? Because me, I know very well that all these people went in the science school. Those are now the scientists we call. So it's very fun how we are trying to push the reasons that are not here or there. I've seen there is a video that people are trying out to show to say people were failing after taking the vaccine. Those are again their lies. I don't know why we are trying to spread falsehood to the people to show like what we are doing is correct. I think that's not the way it's supposed to be done. We need to get vaccinated, and these vaccines that we currently have, we have single channel of approving them, Bamusha. Single channel. There are no many channels. No, we are all approving this vaccine through WHO.
Yeah.
There is no any vaccine that is not approved by WHO that is given. You see, let me mention maybe something that you also don't know. In Germany, there is a billionaire doctor who has been jailed actually for vaccinating 20,000 people by using his own vaccine, which himself made. He's a billionaire. He was injecting people near the airport and all that. This was happening 2 days ago. And the news is just fresh. Today, they also reported about that. So the thing is, why was this person jailed, or why was this person taken by the police? Because the method of making the vaccines which he made didn't pass through the method which we are using in terms of approving the vaccines, which is a single method of,
which is WHO. So after a vaccine clears WHO guidelines, there is no need for you as a politician to stand up and say you want the Zambian health practitioners to also subject that same vaccine to a protocol in Zambia. You know, because that's we are an anti-vaxxer, and it's not helpful. We are in a crisis now. What we need is to have everybody in Zambia, everybody vaccinated.
We have the Zambians who are working by WHO. For your own information, we have a good number of Zambians who are doing that. And again, we have a lot of Zambians who are engaged by WHO to help them in the screening of some of these medications and including the vaccines. So Zambians are involved there. So I don't know what people want now to exaggerate. I don't know what they want to hear or talk, what they want to talk about.
Yeah. Some are saying, I can see some comments at some people still are dying after receiving a vaccine. Abantu bale moragona kalimo vaccine nishit means itawaka fwe. Yo.
That's death free.
The vaccine is not the same as death free. Even if you have the vaccine against TB, you can still contract TB. What it means is that your body is better prepared to fight. Amalwere. No, my sure Golandanga doctor, Pantutaini doctor, Malam Buena Mova Jeromat, you future and up. Isn't it what a vaccine does? It helps your body to fight.
No, upon the land, apotwala misendati, chisungu mulechi, mulelondora, kaili mwe kufisungu, so kotwala mivika. Ati yo, kufisungu kule kufikwakwa, hapo mulelondorola.
Okay, now londorora fyaguinote. A vaccine helps your body to be better equipped to fight the virus.
But you can still die.
But you can still die. You can still,
Yes.
And the more people receive this protection, the quicker we are going to fight COVID. Jerome, ule suminanga na kutelefon dera nda fiachino. Anyway.
Awe dito abamusha na sumina nipyofile kwenu. Namulasa.
And so I think we have let our people know, and we've been very clear about this. Now we've got to conclude our program here. And we've got to conclude and let our people know that we love you. Zambia twadimitemwa. Echo tuishila, it's because you deserve it. Nokuposa so much time inonshita abantu bafuiroku nishina basendama inonshita bahimba bafuire nishina basendama bamwerwa na bajero naine I'm supposed to be at no, but we are here because Zambia matters. Echo we can't let abantu bare mibe pobu fi bare mikerenga at yo these
There's also another thing before we close, we need to clear Vamunsha. There are people who are saying vaccine yaendesha okufuma okutampa okuyibonfya ati yaendesha yamwama vaccine yala taking enshita for it to be administered. But now I want to make it clear in my little understanding, Jerome, inanena nshete ine medical personnel, but I just want to add a little bit of knowledge I have about this. The COVID yalipa y'abantu abengi. Elo yenata ilo lela file kuna HIV ati in a period of time, maybe 10 years. COVID in instant. So that's why it is called a pandemic. It is worldwide problem. So a lot of people have pumped in a lot of money for this vaccine to be finalized. I am a vaccine yamo yale chelo, maybe because there's no funding. In this COVID, there are even people who are volunteering, just looking at the number of people whom the world has lost. We know one of the MPs in one of the countries who said, as an MP on the ground to assist people in the hospitals. So a lot of people, they've pumped in money, they've pumped in their time, vaccine, because and it takes a bit of time. But the COVID, it was an emergence for the whole world, and the whole world came together to source resources so that
COVID yakuba fya tuleyambula ferero mailo fyapena. Ichifuba chafu.
I think
Ichifuba chafu.
Vamusha, I think one thing that people should appreciate right now is where you are in Canada. I think you should be in the UK or US. You are somewhere in USA, Patrick somewhere and all that. But look, we are all talking at the same platform. And the people are able to say, we are able to even greet each other and all that, well, we are in different areas. What I'm trying to say is there is technological advancement. Technology now you are reached advanced. So if a drug was taken to develop maybe 50 years, this time it can even be developed within 5 years. That's what technology has done. There are a lot of drugs that Vamunsha, we have recorded a lot of drugs. Why have we recorded a lot of drugs? Because some chemicals which we discovered we were using in making them were causing cancer. After testing again using the new technology, discovered that these drugs or these chemicals can cause cancer to a human body. So what happens? All those drugs are recorded so that we can make new drugs with new chemicals and all that. So you need to appreciate the current technology which is there in the development of drugs, which is quicker and which is working around the clock for us to have the medicine at the shortest period of time. And I'm happy the way we are moving in terms of the mutation of the virus and the development of the vaccines. Very soon, don't get shocked that we beat HIV and we find the vaccine for HIV. Because HIV, we couldn't find the vaccine because it used to mutate, it used to change and all that. But with this virus, it's a breakthrough thing that it is going to bring in terms of HIV vaccine discovery.
Thank you. Mukilabai.
Chungolopo mkwai kimanzibwani bitumezi. Otherwise na mulanda kale fisuma. You've spoken, you've told the people what they are supposed to do. Mwila umfuila. Ababalemi bepa. Ababalemi bepa, they just want to make a mark in their community, and they want to die not alone. They want to die with you. Like Fidesha Kala and Mama, they shall die with you. That's what they want. So ukuba monesha timweta mwa, you are not like them. Please go and stand on the right side of life. Prevention is better than cure. There's no way someone would start talking about 666 if you are beliefs, if you are repugnant, that would never bring nothing but but death. We know that when you are vaccinated,
because if we pente naba chimpempe, if we twasomina musana mufyama 666.
abo bene ebalesta mislead abantu imwe bene abalelanda if yakutira ti no 666 fibikeni kumbali fyo tafikwete tafireleta tafyaka tuchite save na 666 tafyaka lete panadoro olo vaccination. Let us vaccinate ourselves. If we don't vaccinate ourselves, this COVID is going to mutate. And once it mutates, it will even come back to the people that also were vaccinated. But for us who have been vaccinated, we stand a chance of even defeating it, because we cannot even, we may die, yes, but the chances of us dying are very, very, very slim.
I think bakafuako bwe nga batampa okubola tabakabole sana. Mr. Chimki.
Vamosha, but I have to be quick tonight. Mwabombeni, Zambians, mwewena Zambia. I'm gonna speak in Bemba. COVID, techintu chakwangalirako. COVID is serious. If countries like the UK can struggle with COVID, and then if angala, COVID can cripple our economy. COVID can cause even other diseases. Vamusha, I'm so surprised that abantu bali under COVID, we can't take vaccine because atisheko ifumana ikwatama side effects ni 66. Zambians are playing. I was listening while I was driving. Much Tampa. You mentioned very important things. Vamusha, there was a country ekobale ikatama foreigners. You know kobale beshibila. Bale beshibila kuli because that country tabakwete about citizens tabakwete ilianani ama nyerete abaye tunganishto abaye chama vaccines. So pabale ishibila tuyumwina Zambia komu taking up pakubea. Bamusha, we took polio vaccines, BCG, everything. Oh, yale wapali under 5. Tapali abalekana. Even some of these pastors, nishbali ba baby. Bushabali pusha kama vaccines ya fumine kwisadia. Tabai pushe. Bamusha kwali kwa tefile mu Zambia because of polio. Until batampo kupela polio vaccine. Bushaba bali kene po atumila pela polio vaccine because atisheko ifumine. Zambians bafiro kuba careful. Kuno ku UK bali kwete bamusha kwali Spanish flu in 1945 which affected almost the entire world. Flu nomba yabako. They had to come up with a vaccine. Na nomba ila vaccine ko yaba. Kapala baikana. Bamusha TB almost eliminated the entire UK in the 50s. Whenever you come into the UK, they will tell you you have to take a TB vaccination. Because that vaccine does not mean to akwata TB, but in akwata TB, it will be able to fight the body. And then viruses, you have even worse than disease, TB, because viruses mutate. The moment cells, body cells, if virus they change. Now the danger is abantunga tabakwete vaccine. Ema variant number 3/4. Because they cause these variants to come up, and some of these variants, like the fourth wave Vamusha, it can wipe almost half of Zambia. So people Vamusha bafiroko were serious with COVID. Let me just say something Vamusha. The last thing, 1 second. Vamusha were vaccinated. I work for the NHS. You're supposed to have 2 Pfizer and a booster. So I've had that. I'm revealing something on here that nobody knew. 10 days ago, our son got TB from school. Not TB, COVID from school. So we were quarantined for 10 days. But imagine, if with my wife, because the reason the doctors said, they said because two vaccines plus a booster. Now imagine in the same house, but we were still quarantined for 10 days. I was working from home for 10 days. So those are some of the important things of taking a vaccine. You will be protected. Even if you go walwala, ama symptoms yala mild.
Right.
Thank you, Bamush.
Thank you. Mwelwa, could you kindly close the program for us? We'll be back tomorrow with more exciting people and more exciting professionals. Not that we are also exciting, but more professional. Go ahead, Mwelwa.
No, thank you, viewers, for listening in, and thank you so much to the different hosts and the different viewers that have sent in messages and questions. We thank you so much, and see you tomorrow.